Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to another 10 to 20 with Tanya. I'm Tanya, and I see we have some folks who have already joined us. So let me know in the comments where you're joining me from. And if you found out about this live here on YouTube, or if you found out about it on Instagram, welcome, Kim, 10 p.m. in Belgium. Welcome. It must be bedtime or close to bedtime for you. So today we're talking about how to think in English and how to stop translating in your head. And this is an important topic, a topic that a lot of students ask me about. And so I'm curious for you, is this something that you do? Do you translate in your head when you're speaking in English? Let me know in the comments here. I want to be sure to get to your questions while we're talking about this today. And I also want to share with you some helpful ways that you can stop translating in your head, some things that you can do to help you stop translating in your head. So as you know, I like to start with a story. I am learning Spanish. Some of you may know that I'm learning Spanish. You might not know, I just started learning another language. If you know what it is, put it in the comments. But I'm very, very beginner at that one. I have been learning Spanish for more than 6 years. And I'm here to tell you that sometimes I still translate in my head. And it depends on a few things. For one thing, if I am more tired, I'm more likely to translate in my head. If I'm nervous, I'm more likely to translate in my head. But when I feel comfortable, then I don't translate in my head. And so here is my first tip for you. It's hard to do, but the more comfortable you can get making mistakes in English, the more likely you will be to stop translating in your head. So, tip number one, I'm going to put it right here. Become comfortable. Practice that word while you're waiting for me to type comfortable. 3 syllables. Comfortable. Become comfortable making mistakes. Yes, we make mistakes. We don't take mistakes or do mistakes. We say we make mistakes. And I know this is very challenging. I talk about this every day and I still feel uncomfortable when I make mistakes. Now, there are times that I feel much more comfortable and then I speak a lot more fluently. So I'm going to see if there's any questions yet. Hello, Claudette. To contact me, leave a comment when this is either on this video, on the recording when it goes onto YouTube, or you can go to my website, which has the same name, englishcoach3ts.com. Or you can direct message me on Instagram. My Instagram has the same name. So thank you for that. Hopefully everybody got that information. Okay, so I see people practicing saying comfortable. So let's use this as an example. You know what the word comfortable means. You practice saying it, comfortable. A lot of people say comfortable. No, we don't say comfortable. No, we say comfort, comfortable. Even I get messed up. So you practice saying it. You practice saying, I feel comfortable in this chair. I feel comfortable when I'm with kind people. And then when you're ready to be in a conversation, if you say it incorrectly, it's okay. You can correct yourself if you remember, or you can just keep speaking. People know what you mean. But practice is my next thing. Practice is my next hint for you. And I know you hear this a lot, but what I'm going to tell you is a little different. You want to practice thinking, because what you're trying to do is to think in English. So you want to practice thinking in English. How do you do that? If you have an idea and you're in the live audience today, tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments, how do you practice thinking in English? I'm going to share an idea with you. One way is to stop and think about where you are. Look around. Like I'm currently thinking in English about, there's a clock on the wall. I can see it's a beautiful day outside. My plant is a little crooked. It needs to be straightened so it's not crooked. I'll do that later. I'm thinking in English. But if I were thinking in my second language, it probably would take a little more effort, but I could still do it. I could still, in my second language, think in my head, not practice speaking, but practicing speaking. Sorry, I can't speak English today. Practice thinking about the clock, about the weather outside, about my plant. And if I don't know the word for crooked, I can make a note in my head. I could even look the word up right then. And then now it's a new word. I know, crooked. Don't just go, okay, here's how it is, crooked, and go on. Start thinking with that word. Start using that word in your thinking. So, now I've looked the word up. I'm going to think it. The plant is crooked. And don't translate it. Look at the crooked plant or imagine the crooked plant with your new word, crooked. So I'm going to put this word in case it is new for you. Crooked means something is not straight. So if your picture is hanging on the wall and it's straight, let's say this is a picture on the wall and it's straight, this is crooked. This is one way you could describe it. This is straight. This is crooked. So now imagine with me, don't translate this into your native language. You can just, in your practice time, think straight, crooked. Of course, there are other ways to think of this vocabulary, and you can do that at another time. But now in your mind, think of a picture on your wall in your home. Think of a picture that you like and think about it being crooked. Think about this in English. And this, just by doing this exercise with me here today, all of you who are here are going to have a much better chance of remembering what crooked means. Okay, so another thing to practice this word, write your example with the word crooked in the comments. I'm going to write mine. My plant is crooked. Or my plant is hanging. My hanging plant, I'm going to say, my hanging plant is crooked. I need to straighten it out. To straighten out. Crooked, I want to straighten it out. Crooked, straighten it out. This is a phrasal verb. To straighten something out is, if it is crooked, make it straight. So put your comment down here below. If you can't think of a comment, read the comment that I put there. My hanging plant is crooked. I need to straighten it out. But this is how you learn the vocabulary, to remember it, to use it, to stop translating in your head. Don't use your native language to think about this. Think about it in English, and then think about something in your house that could be crooked. Okay, so here's another tip. Stop using a dictionary, any dictionary, but a dictionary that goes from English to your native language. Start using an English to English dictionary. I'm going to write this here. Start using an English to English dictionary. So what I mean is when you look up the word crooked, you get a description of that in English. And I'm going to do it right now. If you don't already know, I like to use the Merriam-Webster dictionary. There's lots of good dictionaries out there. This is just one that I like that's English to English. And I'm going to put in the word crooked. And right away, the definition is not straight. Not straight. It's the opposite of straight. It gives me some other definitions. But if I'm working on not translating in my head and speaking English without thinking in my native language, then I want to focus on one at a time. And it gives an example. A crooked road, like you drive on a crooked road, or your tie is crooked. If you were wearing a tie and it was crooked, you could straighten it out. So these are just two examples. If I had looked this up in my English to English dictionary, I'm now using English to learn the word and remember the word. And these are very important things. Now, I want to know what your questions are about how to stop thinking in your native language and how to start thinking in English. I'm going to see if we have any questions about this topic. Amina asks, will this live be every day? I go live on YouTube right now. I go live on YouTube every Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Los Angeles, California time. So I'm going to write that in the comments here. 1:30 p.m. Los Angeles. I live near Los Angeles, California time. So you can join me here for a live lesson and ask questions every Saturday at 1:30 Los Angeles, California time. Also, this will be recorded. I recommend you watch it again so that you can write down some of the things and practice with me. You can use this video to practice shadowing and many other things. And I have several other videos, live lesson videos that you can see. Okay. One person said that Kim just translated it in the Cambridge dictionary. Cambridge is another dictionary that I highly recommend if you're using that one. Any questions? Does anyone have a question? Or is there something you have done so that you don't translate in your head? What do you do to practice thinking in English? And I'm curious, do you still translate in your head all the time? Sometimes, rarely. For me, in my second language, like I said, it kind of depends on how comfortable I am. But I'll share with you just my last English lesson just a few days ago. I'm not sure why. I think it's because I didn't practice ahead of time. And here is another tip for you. If you have a lesson, a conversation exchange, you know you're going to have a conversation in English, or you know you have to use it at work, warm up your brain. Warm up your brain. So what do I mean by warm up your brain? It takes your brain a minute to start thinking in English. It takes my brain more than a minute. So, and most people, it takes more than a minute. Some people can go very quickly back and forth between two languages, especially if they're very fluent. But one tip that will help you to stop thinking in your native language, but it will help you with so many other things, is to warm up your brain before your conversation. So before you come to listen to this class, before you go to wherever you're going to speak English, listen to something in English, watch something in English, practice thinking in English, like I shared with you a little bit ago. Whatever you can do to help your brain start thinking in English. So let me give you an example. Before I have my Spanish class in my second language, I listen to a podcast. These podcasts are usually between 15 and 20 minutes. So something like this live would be perfect to do this with. And I listen and I try to think of what they're saying in my second language. So, for example, if they talk about a crooked plant, which we talked about a little bit ago, even if you did this before, think of it again because repetition is key. I put it here. Repetition is key, which means all of these ideas, these tips and tricks to help yourself think in English, you need to repeat them. You need to repeat them often. And it's good if you can repeat them, what we call spaced repetition. If you've never heard me say it, I'm amazed. It means you're new here because I talk about it a lot. Spaced repetition means maybe you I can't speak. Maybe you repeat it several times today, and tomorrow you only repeat it once. Then you wait until next Thursday and repeat it again. Then you repeat it the next day. Then maybe you take a day break. So spaced repetition means you don't repeat it all the time at exactly the same time. You repeat it, space, repeat it, small space, repeat it, big space. This is the way you naturally learned your native language. So this will help you. Okay, I'm looking to see if there are any more questions. Amina says, we want you, teacher, to teach us from intermediate level to advanced, please. That's what I'm doing right now, is teaching you one of the ways that you can move from the intermediate level to the advanced level. Most of the content I have here on YouTube and on Instagram is for intermediate to advanced learners. And by listening and applying these ideas, it will help you to level up your English. Noor, thank you so much for your comment. Hi, Yakito. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. Hello, welcome. I'm going to see if I missed any questions. Hello, Claudette from Mexico. Welcome everyone who is here. Hello, Maria. I'm so glad to see everyone here. I have just a couple minutes, so I want to know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them in the comments. And while I'm waiting to see if there's any questions, let's practice. So practice is key. Imagining is key. Relating to it is key. And stop using the dictionary that translates into your language. So to practice, we're not going to use a dictionary other than an English to English dictionary. And we're going to take a new word and practice with it. This word is similar to crooked. If we have a road that is crooked, it does not go straight. We could also say that it is a winding road. Winding road. So to wind something, you can wind up a toy. We used to wind our watches. The light is weird there. Sorry. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. Wind. To wind something. It looks, this word to wind looks similar as wind, like the wind is blowing, but this is wind. So if you don't know this word, look it up in your English to English dictionary, maybe your Cambridge dictionary, or like I said, I've got the Merriam-Webster, and I'm going to see if it will tell me what it means to wind so that we can practice it. It looks like the word wind, so it probably won't be the first definition. In my dictionary, wind is first. Before, in the wind, near the wind, off the wind. Okay, verb. Here we go. To turn completely or repeatedly. to encircle or cover something, to raise to a high level, and to transverse on a curving course. To transverse means to go on a curving course. So now we have two ways. We looked it up in the dictionary. We're going to practice with some of the ideas we have. Think of a road you know that is a winding road. Does this road go across your country or does it go up a mountain? Let me know in the comments. Think of a winding road. You could also call it a crooked road. And what you're doing right now is thinking in English. Use English in your mind on purpose to think about it. All right. Amina asks, teacher, I want to ask you if reading is the key to learn English. Reading is so important and very important to this process. If you want to use reading so that you will stop translating in your mind, read without translating. Only use an English to English dictionary. When you're reading, imagine what you're reading and use only the English to imagine that. And yes, that will be very helpful. Kim says, listening is the best way to learn English. So there are different opinions, but to be honest with you, you need to read, listen, speak, and write. You really need to do all of them. For me, reading really helps me. I listen more than I read, but I read a lot in my second language. Okay, I hope I answered all the questions. I hope that you have given some thought to a winding road in your country, in your city, or near your home. And I hope to hear more from you in the comments when I post this video as a recording. And I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for being here with me. Don't forget to join me next Saturday at the same time for another live video. And watch all of the live content that we already have, live content and English classes that we already have here on YouTube. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.